allprorooterandplumbing.com. In fact, yesterday I got to meet the fine folks that run All Pro Rooter and Plumbing, and we had just the most pleasant conversation. So if you're looking for good service with quality individuals, All Pro Rooter and Plumbing is where you need to go. That's allprorooterandplumbing.com. Stacey, you look really eager all of a sudden. I know.
Hey, I use them. I'm a client. They did fabulous work. You need a plumber, give them a call.
All Pro Rooter and Plumbing. Give them a call. Yeah, that's how this day and age works, Stacey. God, you're old.
Well, that's what I did.
And
yes, I am old.
I am not saying that that's not what you did. See, that's the thing. I have the same issue with my girlfriend. It's not an issue, but like she'll say something, I'll laugh, and then she'll say, I'm being serious. And I'll say, yeah, that's why I'm laughing. If I thought you were kidding, it wouldn't be funny. But because I know you're serious, it's hilarious. You see what I mean? It doesn't, I wasn't kidding. Yeah, you didn't have to be for me to laugh. So, yes, Stacey, I know that you are old. Nor did you have to tell me that because, again, I know. But I'm glad the folks at All Pro Rooter and Plumbing could help with your old self. That's good.
Thanks.
Well, I'm useless when it comes to around the house stuff. Apparently, our microwave was sparking. Carrie texted me and she said, "Can you look at it when you come home?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll look at whatever you want when I come home." What do you see? The microwave? Well, what's wrong with it? I don't know. You told me to look at it. I'm looking like I'm going to be able to do anything.
Carrie, you know you're not supposed to put metal in the microwave, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not home, but I'm expecting to come home to either a very hungry family or a burned down house, or maybe both. I don't know. What did we do before microwaves? I don't know. I can't answer that question. Full show today. We're talking Diamondbacks here in just a second. The Diamondbacks win again, and they have, to a point at least, defied convention in doing this. I keep telling them, hey, y'all, score earlier. It'll be better for you. And they keep saying, Zach, you don't know what you're talking about. Clearly I do not. Also, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw these next two topics come up a lot with me this morning. The first, Tim Tebow, as you may or may not know, hit a home run last night. It was his first at bat, and everybody is just, the drool that is coming out of the mouths of so many people is like fire hose status. Like Niagara Falls is like, whoa, save some water, guys. Calm down. We love to talk about the home run. Would anybody like to inquire about his next 4 at-bats? Yeah, 3 strikeouts, 2 looking, and about the weakest ground ball anybody has ever hit. I've seen guys in T-ball get more on that on a baseball. Okay, but we don't ever want to talk about that. If Tim Tebow could only be popular 20% of the time or 5% of the time, well, Zach, in baseball, you only have to hit the ball about 25% of the time. Yeah, well, guess what? In spring training, he hit the ball 17% of the time. 17%. Not even good at that. The Mendoza line is confused at that stat. Wait a second. You're not supposed to be that low. The Mendoza line's over here, guys. Also, I went to Arizona. I have an Arizona degree. I paid out-of-state tuition to be there. Let me back up. My dad paid out-of-state tuition for me to be there. People say I did not pay. And that makes a difference in this context. But, Stacey, one of the things you and I talk about all the time, I do not approve of public money going to fund stadiums.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's in Las Vegas. I don't care if it's in St. Louis. I don't care if it's in Oakland. I don't care if it's in San Diego, all places where this has come up lately. Mm-hmm. And I really don't want it to happen in Tucson, Arizona. But guess what, Stacey? It has happened. It's happening right now.
Wrong.
It is wrong.
Wrong.
It's wrong. What Arizona and the Board of Regents has done is wrong. It's wrong. And some of you are totally fine with this. What has happened, and we'll get more into this later, is that there is now a $100 fee attached to every new student. So if you're already there, you're not going to be subjected to this, of $100 to help cover athletic costs. Wrongo. Everything about that is wrong. also, and thank goodness, because with Major League Baseball doing their Tim Tebow routine and with the Arizona Board of Regents throwing money all over the place, throwing not even their own money all over the place, thank goodness it's National Beer Day. I need like 10 of them now. Keep those cold for later. We'll talk to Bruce Pascoe in the 4 o'clock hour, and Mike Farron talks Diamondbacks with us in the 5 o'clock hour. Let's talk about those Diamondbacks right now. And look, if you are the Arizona Diamondbacks, there's a lot to be pleased with right now. There's a lot to be pleased with. They are 3-1, their best start in forever. At least it feels that way. And they've not only done it against what should be a good baseball team, though maybe we're seeing a preview of something else, like we think the big story is, oh my God, the Diamondbacks may have a chance to be better. I'm not saying like have a chance to compete for a championship, but I also wonder, are we missing the real story? I mean, we're not in San Francisco, so maybe we're supposed to miss the real story, but could part of the story, and taking nothing away from the Diamondbacks, but could part of the story be that maybe San Francisco's not as good as we thought they were going to be? I mean, Arizona got the brunt of their rotation, right? They paid a boatload of money for Jeff Samardzija, though I think most of us agree he wasn't worth it. But when you need somebody, and that's the guy that fits, sometimes the value changes a little bit. And when I say sometimes, it absolutely does. Their offense has showed great strength, which, again, has defied convention. Usually, when you're trying to get something going, the better off your start is, the better off you're going to be. Stacey, we went to Phoenix last week. Mm-hmm. How did our trip start?
Bad.
Right, the tire blew on the van, right? Mm-hmm. And then but from there,
it got worse.
Well, it's just that was what it was. It's the beginning, as it usually does, set the tone for the rest of the trip. The Diamondbacks have found a way to not allow the early portion of the game to set the tone. They decide when they're going to set the tone, and they've set it. I'm not saying they should keep doing this, but they have done an excellent job. I think they've only scored 3 runs. Was it 3 runs? Or no, I don't even think it was 3. I think it's 1 run, in the first 3 games, and 0 this time in the first 3 innings. All of their production has come in the middle and late innings, which, if you can do that, is good. The problem that I have is it puts a ton of pressure on the middle and late innings, both offensively and defensively. Offensively, that's okay. Defensively, pitching, it's not, because the bullpen has done well. The bullpen has done well, but I don't know how much I'm going to trust the bullpen. They still scare the crap out of me. It's not a bullpen that can be pressured, Stacey.
No, it's an entire pitching staff that worries me, not just the bullpen.
No, but agreed. But Stacey, when I'm talking about putting pressure on middle to late innings, how much of that is encompassed by the starting pitcher? I'm not saying that their job's not valuable, but where that pressure lies usually comes at the end or when the starting pitcher is out. Yeah, that's my point. They're not scoring when the starter's in.
And I guess my point is there's a lot of pressure put on those relievers because the starters don't get very deep into games usually.
Well, and that is what we've seen so far out of the starters. Now, is that something that is somewhat of an anomaly? We don't know, because we're not even all the way through once yet. We've had 4 or 5 guys start. Shelby Miller will be the 5th and final starter, and then it'll flip over starting on Saturday with Zach Greinke. But I do have to wonder, and this is a question for Mike Farron later. Stacey, do you think that some of the early exits are because we're early in the year? Now, here's the problem. Even if that's true, you couldn't use that same excuse going back to last year. The problem is that the averages line up as far as early exits from starting pitchers. So even if you can or want to blame it or explain it on it being early in the season, last year you couldn't use that explanation and you got the same result.
Well, I think the situation is a little different this year in that the outcomes have been different.
Well, yeah, they're winning. They're 3-1.
I think that plays a huge part into it where, okay, if you're only getting 6 innings out of your starter, you're having to use your bullpen for 4 innings a game. Yeah, it's going to tax them a bit, but if you're winning games, I think they're going to be more energized, more enthusiastic, and wanting to go out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, how much fun is it for a reliever to come into a game when they're down all the time or when they're on the verge of being down?
It's awful.
If you're a reliever, you want to be able to be part of you want either the save, you want to be part of the hold, right? You don't want to just be, all right, well, this game is almost over, or it's basically over. Go out there and whatever. Get us 3 outs, but who cares how you do it because we just want this game to end because we're losing. Probably less of that this year. But, again, I know that I sat here and told you, well, look at this offense, man. They're great middle eight of the game, and they've been able to work around slow starts. But at some point, I think that the slow start thing, may they be a, quote, second-half team, as we say about some NFL and NBA franchises? Maybe, but I don't think if you're the Diamondbacks, you're good enough to rely on that propulsion from the middle or late portions of the game, especially if you're trailing, which they have trailed in all 4. They have not scored first yet. They have not scored first in this season. And you take that second game, they never led. There was no comeback. But in the other 3 games, I think I counted 6 comebacks.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, and it's impressive, but I would suggest that that is not the best approach to long-term success. I'm not saying it hasn't worked. And look, Stacey, not only is it working, but it's fun to watch. It is. They have these big explosions. They come from behind. Everybody gets super jacked. It's fun.
You wonder, though, are they relying on the big inning too much? Are they relying on, hey, let's get hot and score 3-4 runs this inning to make a big comeback?
Maybe, but look who you're getting production out of. It's Paul Goldschmidt. It's Chris Owings, it's Jake Lamb, it's A.J. Pollock. You're getting production out of the guys that you should be able to ride, right? I mean, David Peralta hit a home run last night. I mean, he's not going to do that every night. But, I mean, I don't see why you can't expect consistency. Lamb had a great year last year. First half better than the second, but still, especially in the first half, we know who A.J. Pollock is or who he was before the injury last year. And Paul Goldschmidt, we said this over and over. Was he great last year? No. But because he wasn't his Goldschmidtiest, we said he had a bad year. How many guys would take that as a good year? Almost everybody else. So when you say bad year, you got to say relatively speaking. And then I'll agree with you because from what he is capable of, what he wants to do, he did have a bad year. But only in those terms, only in that realm. Otherwise, he didn't have a bad year at all. That's crazy. That's like Arizona football this year. Oh, yeah, terrible year. Lost 2 conference games. Lost 5 games total. What, 32-5? 32-5. Like, go somewhere to, like, Penn State. Go to Penn State and then try to sell a problem basketball season winning 32 games. Let me know how that goes for you. Oh, they'll take it. Oh, yeah. Oh, they'll take it right now. Oh, they'll take it every year. Oh, okay, good. Just checking. Oh, no, get that crap away from us. Well, you only won 32 times in 37 attempts? It's garbage.
What's a little encouraging with the Diamondbacks start, though, as well, is the last few years,
terrible starts.
They have had
garbage,
horrendous starts. I mean, just one year they won 2 games in the entire month of April. So, but beyond that, once they got into June, July, August, they played roughly 500 ball, maybe a little bit better at times. If they can avoid that horrendous start and just play the rest of the season as they have the last few years, it
won't be.
Am I saying they're going to win the division? No.
But what you're saying is they're not going to have a 15-game hole to dig themselves out of already in May. Right. And that's the problem is, like anything else in life, when you have these huge obstacles, right? Let's say that you're, I've done this before, you lose a bunch of weight. Somebody says, you got to lose 30 pounds, and you go, oh, man, that's a lot. And it is a lot, like all at once. And when you start thinking about it, you go, ooh. Right? But what if you only had to lose 5 pounds? What if you had to lose any weight at all? What if you just keep doing what you were doing? The Diamondbacks in the past have been that person that needs to lose 50 pounds right now. And Stacey, if they can just win some games on the front side, they don't have to worry about that. You don't have to lose weight. You're where you're supposed to be.
Just maintain it.
And so they put themselves in a position for that. And again, I have to wonder for the Giants, it's way too early to make any evaluation, but is the real story here not the Diamondbacks are 3-1, but that the Giants are 1-3? And we'll only know the answer to that question in a few months. That's the frustrating thing about the early part of the season is that you don't know what any of this means. It could mean something, could mean nothing, could mean a lot, could mean a little. You just don't know. And that's why this time of year, again, it's frustrating. But I will say this as we move on to something else. The Diamondbacks have indeed left the door open for optimism, which I think really goes back to Stacey's point that not only Stacey is the team itself putting themselves in good position, but the fans aren't going, oh, that was fun for a few weeks, but the season is over. It's hard when the towel gets thrown in May, in June. And if they can just keep themselves on the forefront, maybe the towel gets thrown in September, which is fine. It's going to happen at some point, but don't let it be before the All-Star break.
Because what have we said the last couple of years?
Be competitive. Just be competitive.
Thank you. That's all we want.
Man, I'm not asking for a lot. I know. Look, man, I am picky. I am hard to please. I want what I want, and if you can't give it to me, I don't want to talk to you. That's me. I'm that person. But sometimes, just because I am crazy, irrational, and demanding does not mean that I am always that way. And for what I'm asking for the Diamondbacks, like, they ask for $1 bazillion, and then we say, you win. And they say, we're not doing that. Well, you won't give us some money? No. More of the Zach Clark Show is next on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. ESPN Tucson 1490 and 1049 FM. Don't forget you can check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/ESPN Tucson 1490 and 1049 FM. I mean, you can just check us out on Facebook by looking at our Facebook page. But I mean, check us out. You could be watching the show right now on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ESPN Tucson 1490 and 1049 FM. Major League Baseball may be doomed. It may be doomed. I'll tell you why coming up. It may not be, but something tells me it might be. Let's go to the phones, 298-1490, All Pro Plumbing Studio Line. Hey, Lance, how are you, sir?
Hey, Zach, I'm doing well today. How you and Stacy doing on this fine Friday?
Hey, we're doing well, thank you.
Hey, well, it's 4 games in. There's only 158 games left. We might as well just call the season right now.
Yeah,
Put
sure.
the Diamondbacks into a round-robin style postseason, kind of like the World Cup. Everybody plays the group round, and then we go to elimination. It's that easy. It's just that simple.
Hey, I mean, I think a lot of Diamondbacks fans would probably jump on that bandwagon and sign that right now, Lance.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you know how I feel about the Diamondbacks. I've called in and voiced my opinions about their postseason and management decisions at times. Right now they're looking good, but it's only 4 games in. The bats are alive. Their pitching is looking okay, too good, not bad. But I think if they don't mess with what kind of sort of machine they have going right now through these first 4 games, only having played one club with the vaguest of pieces of information that I have in my head, I think they can get something rolling, but we have no idea because there's 158 games left. But on the plus side, every team is going to be afraid of staring into Archie Bradley's beard of doom. So I'm excited to see that.
I tell you, that's my favorite part of the season so far, Lance. Thanks for the phone call, brother. Yeah, Archie Bradley's beard is the real MVP of the first 4 games of this season. And that's the thing. I want to be optimistic with the Diamondbacks. It's more fun that way. But I don't know to what I'm getting myself into. It's really hard for us to decipher or decide that because they have been so incredibly unpredictable. They've been anything but consistent over the last few seasons. You don't know what you're going to get. So I'm going to hold my breath, but I've enjoyed what I've seen so far. Stacy, did you know that today was National Beer Day, which usually is pretty appropriate when we're talking about the Diamondbacks? You need a cocktail after that conversation.
I did not.
But I mean, if that's not, if that is not just the truest words that have ever been spoken by anybody ever, just in case you didn't get that. It's National Beer Day. And Stacey, when I think about partnerships, whether it be Alexander Graham Bell and the telephone or whatever, things that are peanut butter and jelly. Right, Siegfried and Roy, things that just belong together, not Siegfried and Roy and Tigers, just Siegfried and Roy. Unless you got to think for your own face. I don't know. Wait, you mean the tiger got mad when you put your head in there? No. This isn't about Siegfried and Roy, I promise. But if it was, no, I'm just kidding. Is there a better partner for sports, Stacy? And maybe not better, but is there a more frequent, a more recognizable partner in sport or with sport or for sport than alcohol itself? I'm not saying it's always a good thing.
No.
We've seen some pretty stupid things happen in stadiums and stands because people are too drunk and they're fighting each other or they're getting naked running on the field. I'm not saying it's always perfect.
As with everything, moderation.
Boo! Moderation sucks.
No, but
Binge.
Okay, you think of going to the ballpark.
Yep.
A nice, hot, warm, sunny day, sitting there watching the game with a nice cold one in your hand.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that right now. It sounds great. Now, I will say, growing up, I grew up in a mostly blue-collar area, though there was some white-collar to it. And when I was growing up, craft beer, it was a thing. Craft beer's been around for a lot longer than people. Oh, yeah, craft beer about 5-10 years ago. Yeah, okay. 30, 40 years ago, really. But it wasn't a big thing. Bud Light, Coors Light, whatever, right? I never thought I'd become a beer snob. And then I moved to Tucson. Tucson is one of the best craft beer scenes in the country. It is amazing. We are so lucky to be able to live in a place with so many tap rooms and breweries and bottle shops. I never thought I'd become a beer snob. But, I don't know why I thought that. I'm a snob about everything else. You think I'd limit myself in what areas I can and cannot snob? That doesn't sound like me at all. It shows you what I know. How are y'all enjoying National Beer Day? I can't enjoy it yet. Though I've got this. Stacy, we have I don't know, Stacy, you ever had warm beer? I've never.
I have not.
Yeah, no, it's not good. But we got this cool giveaway with Corona coming up. Maybe if you like Rocky Point, maybe a vacation.
Yeah, who doesn't love going to the beach,
Ooh.
Enjoying a free vacation.
Ooh, I like the second part. I don't love the beach necessarily, though. One, I get bored at the beach. What the hell do? You just sit there, and I get sunburned so dang
You are
easily.
so weird.
Why?
You don't enjoy just going and relaxing.
Oof. The thought. But see, for me, if I've got, as a kid and as an adult, sitting still is punishment.
It is not.
Yes. Yes, it is. For as far as I'm concerned, it is. I get bored. People say, "Oh man, I have a great relaxing day. What are you gonna do?" And they say nothing, and I say, "But seriously, what are you gonna do?" No, nothing. Really? So no, I don't. Like, I'm fine if we're at the beach and we're drinking and we're playing sand volleyball or paddleball or we're in the water or we're walking up and down the beach. But like, to go and like sit on a towel and get sun, punch me in both of my temples at the same time.
I'm not saying you have to do that for 8 hours, but just go and relax on the beach, kick back in a lawn chair or something for half an hour, then go get in the water for a little bit, come back, sit in the chair and relax for a while, lay on the towel. Oh my gosh, dude.
No, I mean, I don't know.
Remind me to never, ever, ever go on vacation with you.
Everybody loves the beach, and I love this giveaway, Stacy, because I get to send somebody else to the beach. I don't have to go. It's perfect. This giveaway is perfect for me. Somebody else can do that.
I will go.
No,
I will.
Doesn't work that way.
It could work that way.
Well, it could.
The winter could be very nice, and hey, would you like to come with me?
Don't do that. As somebody that just spent 5 days with Stacy in a confined space, don't do that. Just for your own good.
You haven't seen me at the beach.
Yeah. So if we're trying
that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to say.
A bunch of people, beached whale!
Yeah, like what? We work in a building full of talented account executives, Stacy. That was the worst sales pitch I've ever heard, ever. I got to send you down the hall for a couple lessons.
And I was going to say, and you wonder why I'm not a salesperson.
Yeah, well, no, I don't wonder why. But if anybody else did, now they know the answer to that question. So that's going to be the best way to celebrate National Beer Day, because the fine folks at Corona are going to help us send you to Puerto Penasco, along with the folks at Hotel Rocky Point. As far as today is concerned, that's the thing that sucks about having a job. Like, I can't.
2.5 hours, Zach.
My dad is from a different era. My dad's in his mid-60s, and cocktails at lunch in my dad's world, especially back in the day, was like a given. Can't do that anymore. FCC won't let you do it anyway. It's like, I was born. I should have been I would have been perfect on Mad Men. Yeah, 9 Manhattans at lunch. Sold. And back then, smoking cigarettes was cool too. I mean, it's not cool. We know that now. I don't smoke anymore, but I would have been like Don Draper right here. What? What was that? Not about what I look like. It's I have the spirit, the personality of.
You keep telling yourself that, buddy.
Stacey, what's Mad Men about? Please extol me with the amount of Mad Men episodes you've seen and how you know what I'm talking about and if I'm right or not.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. You think this show is doomed? Not as much as Major League Baseball is. We'll talk about that next year on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. ESPN Tucson 1490 and 1049 FM. Happy Friday. I'm Zach Clark here until 6 o'clock tonight. Terry Francona brings his Cleveland Indians to town tonight. Defending American League champions. Coverage at 6 o'clock. First pitch at 6:40 here on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 1049 FM. We'll talk golf here in a few minutes. I could talk golf throughout the whole season, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, but y'all don't want that, so I don't do it. But during the Masters, there is something uniquely different about the Masters. There's no question about it. There's no question about that. Major League Baseball is doomed. Well, I don't know if that's exactly correct, but boy, does it feel like it. You say, well, Zach, what's wrong with Major League Baseball? Well, viewership is down, interest is down, and they're trying all these ways to tinker with it, which I am a fan of some or most of these ideas. Baseball takes too long. It lags. It actually doesn't take too long, but its flow is stunted. It's poor. It's like a clogged drain. It doesn't work exactly the way you want to. Will it drain the water? Yeah, eventually, but not the way you want it to. All those tweaks are fine, but I don't think it highlights the actual problem. To me, the actual problem is name me a baseball superstar. Who is baseball's most marketable star? If you ask somebody that question, their answer will be likely, and then they'll throw out Trout. They'll throw out Trout. They'll throw out Bryant. They'll throw out Harper. Yeah, those guys would be in line to be the most marketable superstar, but are they? Who would you put on the cover of, if it was Madden? Who goes on the cover? Trout, probably? I don't know. Is it Harper? It's probably Bryce Harper. Harper has the numbers, and he has flair. Mike Trout is so boring, I got his name wrong 10 seconds ago. That's how boring Mike Trout is. And look, for Mike Trout personally, good for you, bro. I'm not even kidding. Continue to be boring. Continue to play good baseball and not cause controversy. Good for you. Your life will be that much better for it. It's not his responsibility to be interesting for baseball's sake. God bless you, Mike Trout. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't change. But baseball is desperately searching for a star, and it has caused them to go to crazy places to find it. Crazy. Tim Tebow is not going to be baseball's savior. I mean, ESPN, their Twitter handle was on it this morning. Tim Tebow hit a home run last night. First at bat. Photo of the night. This is a guy that hit 178 in spring training. He's playing minor league baseball in Columbia, South Carolina. And, yeah, he hit a home run, but can we please talk about his subsequent at-bats? Oh, no, Zach, we don't want to talk about those. Well, why not? Struck out looking twice. Struck out swinging once. Weak grounder up the middle once. 1 of 5, not going to do it. Tim Tebow is not going to save baseball. Can somebody explain the Tim Tebow thing to me? I don't get it. It made a little more sense in football because, he was a starter in the NFL. They won a playoff game. Like, okay, right? Heisman Trophy winner, national champion. I get that. But you know who Eddie Goodell is? If I say Eddie Goodell, what do you think of? Do you think of Billy Veck? Do you think of like a 3-foot tall person at bat? Yeah. Eddie Goodell was a little person, and he was brought in by Bill Veck as a sideshow. He had a major league at bat when he walked in 4 straight pitches because his strike zone was microscopic. Tim Tebow is Eddie Goodell. Tim Tebow is Garth Brooks. They both played for the Mets, by the way, if you're wondering. Right? I mean, I have. In fact, I tweeted out a picture today of Garth Brooks in a Mets uniform. Probably as legitimate as Tim Tebow. Maybe not quite. At least Tim Tebow comes from an athletic background as opposed to being a country music superstar, as is Garth Brooks. People say, oh, Tim Tebow, he's nice. First of all, do you know that? I don't know that. He looks like he probably is, but that's a really wild assumption to make. And plus, all of a sudden, we've got this thing with nice. Oh, you can't be in the Hall of Fame. You're not nice. Ooh, we like him. He's nice. Should people be nice? Yes. Is the world a better place when people are nice? Yes. But it doesn't matter. So much of this just doesn't matter.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
I'm nice.
No, you're not.
I should be a baseball player. I deserve to be in the
No.
major leagues because I'm nice.
Well, I mean, you could take it that far. He didn't get there because he's nice. Why do people, what is it about Tim Tebow hitting a home run that makes people go nuts? I don't get it.
I don't either. I never got it in the NFL either.
But I mean,
was he a good college football player? Yes.
No, he was a great college football player. One of the best ever. He was one of the best college football players ever. Those Florida teams were so much fun to watch, and a big part of it was him.
But he wasn't a great NFL player. He wasn't even a good NFL player.
No, but again, I get at least in that in this obsession in the NFL, it was the Florida stuff was still fresh. He was playing. They were winning. They won a playoff game. I can explain. I don't agree with it, but I can explain that. I can explain that.
I wonder if
I can't explain this.
Well, I'm curious if it has to do. Obviously, the baseball stuff has to do with who Tebow is. People's infatuation with Tebow. And I'm curious if it's because of his religious beliefs and his outward being able to speak about it to anybody and everybody.
But I think that would be as polarizing as anything else, where some people will love you for it, but others will hate you for it. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying, and I'm not taking a religious stance here, but religion is one of those things like politics where you're going to find some people that you say something and they go, oh, brother, you're exactly right.
You're going to get the complete opposite.
You say the same thing to the next guy, and that guy says, are you kidding me? Get out of my face. Get out of my face with that trash. So you're right. I'm sure that's part of the reason people like him, but it doesn't.
I don't know. And that's the greatest conclusion I can come to is that because of his outward stance on religion and what he feels there, a lot of people could relate to it and were glad that he was able to do that. And maybe that's why they like him and enjoy him.
Do you think that's it? Is there enough of that? I don't know. I don't either. I mean,
other than that, I don't get it. That's the only explanation I have.
Yeah, no, and I think that there is definitely a segment that would say, yeah, that's it. Because finally, not finally, but we've got this player. I I'll put myself in somebody else's shoes. I'm a devout, this is not me speaking, this is me in somebody else's shoes. I'm a sports fan who also happens to be a devout Christian. If that's who I am as a person, I'm like instantly simpatico with this guy. Mm-hmm. Because not only does he entertain me, but he also satisfies my moral compass. So it's like, I don't even have to think about liking him. He stands for the fun that I like to have, and he stands for the morals that I keep. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
It's interesting. And
does that make him immediately eligible to be on a Major League Baseball organization's team?
No, but what we do know, Stacey, is that if the Mets, the Mets are looking at this guy going, okay, we've got a spot for him in a couple of years. The Mets are saying, hey, you think we can make some money in South Carolina if we put this guy in a uniform for a while?
That's exactly what they're doing.
It's just, that's why
it's a sideshow.
Eddie Goodell. That's what Eddie Goodell was like 80 years ago or whenever that was. That Tim Tebow is just a much, much larger Eddie Goodell. Because Eddie Goodell was a little person, literally. But it was little people weren't the joke, but that trying to find the strike zone of somebody under 3 feet tall, you can't do it. But you'll pay to watch somebody try to do it. That to me is what this has become. Is that, and you know what, Stacey? Here's the thing, and we'll take a break here. I don't know if I'm actually mad at Tebow. I'm mad at those that keep stoking the flames that allow this to continue. And don't say, well, Zach, you're doing it too. No, I'm asking for it to stop. I'm not.
But Zach, he hit a home run.
Yeah.
He hit a home run,
He also
Zach.
struck out 3 times and grounded out 2. I want to talk about all 5 at bats. If we're going to talk about him, we can't just pick what we like and ignore the rest. I want to talk about all 5 at bats.
But that's what we do.
That's not what we do. That's what you do. That's what they do. And it's not what I do. And it's never what we do. That's not how this works. Take your phone calls next on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM. I'm Zach Clark. Great, as always, to be with you, especially on a Friday. We're going to talk about the Arizona Board of Regents and how they have no problem spending the money of students, whether students like it or not. And you're saying, well, Zach, that's not new. No, but something has happened that even surprises me, and it seems like a lot these days to surprise me. Let's go to the phones first, 298-1490. We'll talk to Oscar on the All-Pro Plumbing studio line. Oscar, how are you, sir?
Zach, I'm good.
Good.
You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, I just cut off for a sec. So Tim Tebow, I agree with you, Zach. For the longest time, I guess I just didn't see what sparkled so much about him. I mean, obviously, when he was in Florida, like you said, that was great. But I don't. Stacy's theory isn't bad. Maybe people that are religious are, what did you say, like simpatico with him.
Yeah.
They kind of feel a relation there. I'm a Christian. I'm religious. I would say, in fact, I think I'm even the same denomination as he is. But for the longest time, that actually had the adverse effect.
Why?
Me. Because I'm very suspicious of other people, specifically my denomination, that are so outward with it. If you can excuse the quick religious reference, Jesus criticized the Pharisees for praying in the public and doing all that publicly, saying you should do it, not publicly. And so whenever he's kneeling in the end zone, and all that stuff, and I know he wasn't doing a lot of it necessarily, to be in public. Like, he would have done it regardless if the cameras were on him or not. He also knows the cameras are on him. So for the longest time, it kept me from liking him. And so I actually didn't. I actually would root against him until he then did bad in the NFL. And I think the real reason people root for him now is kind of what has kind of started making me want to root for him, which is it's kind of a redemption thing when you have a comeback.
Right. And hey, Oscar, thanks for the phone call. That's interesting. I never would have thought, because I don't consider myself to be overly spiritual or what have you, that you would take that as almost an affront. Like, you're thinking, is this a play, or does he really feel this way? Is it an attention grab, or is this how he feels? And it's interesting how the script kind of flips there, and as he fails, people say, oh, now I feel sorry for him. I'd like him to do better in baseball. That's fine. I don't actually have a problem with people liking him. I just don't understand what it is. I can't grab onto what that is. 298-1490. T-Money, what's happening, brother?
Hey, gentlemen. A great show.
Thank
That
you.
last caller, I'd like to give a props. Great call.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I'll also say I'm a devout Christian myself.
Okay.
And the thing with T-Bone, before I get it anywhere else with this, the reason why the scouts were kind of ambivalent on him to begin with is they've known that he's never been past third base in his life. Anyway.
That was good. I'll give you that one. That was good. That was good.
So, no, I was in Colorado actually doing some ministry at the time that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And to see the evangelical community fall all over themselves over Tebow kind of was a turnoff. I'm evangelical. And it was like, come on, man, let's get real. But when he started winning and doing those things on the football field that a football player should do, I think, like the other caller said, that's what won him a lot of fans. However, the undue attention that he's getting now actually hurts him, just like it hurt Michael Jordan when he was trying out baseball and the ceiling was the roof for him. He was getting a lot of attention for the wrong reason, and that again is a turnoff to many fans. So I think that's what we're back to square one.
Hey, T, great phone call as always, my friend. Thank you so much for it. Y'all bringing the heat here, because I'm not a devout Christian. I can't speak to that, but so much of this conversation, which we don't talk about politics, religion, things like that, but so much of this conversation is, whether positively or negatively, affected by the way people feel about their religion and about other people that may be projecting certain things that they like or that they don't like about Christianity, spirituality, whatever. And that's one of the things that, while I think the attention Tebow gets is ridiculous, he is going to go down, whether I like it or not, as one of the more interesting people in sports history, because there's just so many different moving pieces about him. There are so many, I don't think quirk is the right word, but this conversation is nowhere near over. In fact, it's probably only just beginning. And again, I'm not necessarily anti-Tebow. I'm anti-onslaught of unnecessary attention. I mean, if we could be focusing on all athletes that performed like him, we'd need 10,000 cameras. Yes, being a pro is hard, but guys that are having a hard time hacking it at that level, he's not the only one, not by a long shot. More of the Zach Clark Show rolls on a Friday afternoon next on ESPN Tucson 1490 and 104.9 FM.